Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with might, the Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling might, the Golden Octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D Rose.
Yes, that is us. My name is Matt. D Rose is on that side of the screen. This is the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. As always, we appreciate you guys for stopping by here, hanging out with us here today. If you guys don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe and share this with everyone that you think might be enjoying some UFC picks for the upcoming card this weekend. So, D Rose, how you been over this past week, my guy? I think you're muted.
Always keep forgetting I mute. I go back and forth, but no, things have been great. Man, this weather change has been crazy. I don't know what it's been like up y'all's way, but
Not that hot.
Yeah, it was 80s, even in the 90s, at some points last week, and all of a sudden it's 60, 70-degree weather. So it's crazy, but kind of lets me know that football season's kind of right around the corner. That fall air kind of starts to settle in. It's it's my favorite time of year.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm still sweating like crazy here. I don't know if you can see, but the room's kind of a different color. I did paint this morning, I think. Yeah, this morning. So, maybe in here inhaling some latex paint fumes. So I'll be all right. How you been over the past week or so, my guy?
No, things have been great. Business has been booming, car sales wise.
You know what I'm asking. Yeah, that's what I'm asking about. How's the Kia slanging been?
Yeah, no, car business has been it's been good. The last week or so we've been busting out some stuff. So
I saw you sold a Mustang, dude.
Yeah. No, I sold a pretty nice Mustang. They happen to be friends with the owner, David Hagan. So
okay.
It was he basically gave him like a special on it. But yeah, it was like a GT Mustang. It was a manual as well. You don't really see too many of those. So yeah, that was pretty sweet. So no, sales have been good. So I can't complain.
That's good,
man. The only thing with the business is just it's a roller coaster, man. So it's always up and down, man. So you just got to ride the wave, really.
All right. So if you don't know what to look forward to on today's show, me and D Rose going to recap UFC Vegas 108 real quick because it was a fight card at the Apex. One of us got to eat beans. It ain't going to be me. We got some UFC news and fight announcements to go over, and then we'll close out the show with our UFC Vegas 109. Dolidze versus Hernandez, our preview, our predictions, and our picks. D Rose, why is Dolidze's name first? Why is Anthony Hernandez's name not first? Is he not ranked higher?
I thought that Dolidze was ranked higher, but I don't. I actually don't know.
I guess he is. I guess he is. But when I was typing this up, I was putting Hernandez first, and then when I checked the card, I'm like, oh, I have it backwards. So I would have I was just putting Hernandez first the whole time, and then I had to realize that I had it wrong. So that's what we're going to close out the show with, and our fisting of the week, as always. And last week it cashed. It cashed, D-Rose. It didn't cash with, well, a few fists were thrown, but, a strangulation happened. But the fisting of the week did cash, and that was Austin Bashy, man. I'm glad you talked me out of, Vallejos, but we'll talk about that. But, he did put a lot of fist on Danny Silva's face. He didn't just fist him out, though,
Yeah, that was one that, as you said, we'll talk about it, but that was one that I kind of saw coming, man. I saw a little bit of a dogfight because Danny Silva, he's known to kind of get in one, and two young guys as well. It's not like if Danny Silva was maybe 33, 34 maybe, but he's still, what was he, 28 himself, so he's still fairly young and getting better himself. So yeah, that was a good fight though.
Indeed. Let's shout out the chat real quick before we get started with the show. We got Austin in here with the what's up. We got Antoine in here with the yo. We got Dave in here with the teeth on fleek, as always, and slanging them tell your rides. And then we got Jewish Better in here. What's going on, Jewish Better? Sup, boys? How you doing, brother? Appreciate you stopping by. So let's go ahead and get into the show. We're going to start out with UFC Vegas 108 recap, as of course not ready, but main event was Tatsuro Taira versus Peace of Mind, Young Sung Park. I know you had this fight to start round 3, D-Rose, and I just had Tatsuro Taira money line because at this point, I just wasn't sure of anything. Before we get started with this, the change of cheddar parlay from this past Friday does cash, D-Rose. It was like a plus 130. I don't know. What was it? Image file. I'll pull it up real quick. I just got to upload it. It's at least 10 to 100. Where is it at? Well, I can't even find it now. And here it is. The confidence parlay from this past weekend was this right here. It was a plus 1208. So that cashed from Friday's change to cheddar. So everyone that tailed that, congratulations on cashing a plus 1208 from the card this past weekend. But Tatsuro Taira, he comes out and just smokes Young Sung Park in the first round. I was like, dude, this might not get out of the first round. Then he's on his back the rest of the first round. Round 2 comes out. Round 2, he comes out, takes his back immediately and chokes him out, dude. I was feeling for you there because I know you needed it to start round 3, but I mean, I would have expected Young Sung Park round 3 sub. I didn't expect it to look that easy, and man, he made that shit look easy this past weekend. Thoughts on the main event this past weekend, man?
Yeah, no, Tyra showed that, why he was considered the real deal going into the Royval fight. And, just because he lost to Royval does not take anything away from him. He's still a young fighter, Tyra is, and he's, obviously still learning. And he landed that first right hand on Park, and I was like, oh, man. And then he hit him with the second one, and I was like, well, this is very likely not going to go to the third round like I needed to here. But yeah, it was just a dominant performance. I thought, going into it, as I told you, I didn't realize that Park was getting ready for a fight with Steve Erceg this coming up week. So I was like, man, he's actually probably going to be in pretty good shape, and we know Park can hit. So I don't know, man. And Tyra lost his last fight by just not moving his head. And how's he going to look? And man, look very sharp. Boxing looked crisp. Takedown. I mean, he took Park down with ease, just slammed him down, took the back, and I got that neck crank, man. Made it look easy. So good performance and a good bounce back for Tyra.
Indeed. And Dave letting everybody know we made some bread last week, boys. Indeed. And, just because of that, I might have a little something cooked up, ready to go that I'm going to give y'all early if y'all stay around until the end of the podcast tonight. So, co-main event was Mateusz Raumbetsky. Mateusz Raumbetsky versus the problem, Chris Duncan, man. He saved you from the clean sweep this week. We've been going, you clean sweep me, I clean sweep you back. you clean sweep me, and then was it going to be a month of clean sweeps? It almost happened, dude. Chris Duncan saved you from a clean sweep, man. And it was a close fight. It was a close fight, dude. Could have gone either way. Hell of a fight. Was one of the 2 fights of the night, because there were 2 fights of the night this past weekend. But yeah, Mateusz Brambetsky definitely has a chin, man, but he gets hit so much. But one thing that scared me was the size difference at the weigh-ins. I was like, oh, I might be in TROUBLE because the size difference. I was like, this isn't going to be good. But what made me feel good was that he wasn't going to get guillotined, just because I don't know, he just didn't have a neck. So yeah, so that's how I felt. But Chris Duncan does win via the decision. I couldn't have been mad either way. It was a good fight, close back and forth. I didn't know who won at the end of the night. I was thinking it could have gone either way, because Duncan ended up being busted up there at the end of the third. But I guess thoughts on the co-main event this past weekend, man?
Yeah, no, it ended up being a very good fight. And, they both ended up going in there and just laying it all out there. I did think that a lot of people said that they thought Rebetsky won round 1. I thought Duncan won round 1 pretty cleanly. I thought, even though Rebetsky landed more, because that's what everybody kept falling back on, was like, oh, well, Rebetsky landed more in the first round there. Dude, Rebetsky's face was mashed after the first round. Like, he had the big hematoma on his forehead, and his eye was almost completely shut, and he had the gash under, or I think right above his eye, from the nasty elbow that Chris Duncan kept stepping in with. So if we're going to consider damage the top priority when it comes to judging, Rebetsky definitely took more damage in that first round, and I think Chris Duncan won the first round. I think you can maybe. I thought round 2 was Chris Duncan as well. I thought you can maybe give round 3 to Rebetsky, because I thought Rebetsky did get back in that fight, and he started busting Chris Duncan up. And after a while, Chris Duncan did look like he was kind of getting tired to the pressure, so he kind of just ended up just standing in there and was just like, screw it, and just they both just started swinging and slinging and banging. Rebetsky, credit to him, man, just because he just kept getting mashed. Chris Duncan kept smashing him with the knees, kept smashing him with the elbows, step-in right hands, and Rebetsky still just kept walking through all the damage that he took. And as I said, I thought Rebetsky did win the third round, because I thought the pressure and the damage that he was able to inflict on Duncan there got him the third. But I thought Chris Duncan did win the fight. And yeah, but it was a hell of a fight, and one of the fights of the year. I think that's going to be considered at the end of the year.
Yeah, there are actually 2 fight of the night bonuses. That one and the one right before it, Elvis Brenner versus Esteban Ribovics, where both dudes went to war in that one as well, dude. We get 2 fight of the nights in a row, and they both got the fight of the night bonus. Dude, Esteban has a chin of steel, dude. He's like the new Drew Dober, dude, until, we see him maybe in his 30s a little bit. I don't think anyone's gonna crack him, dude, because he is just, dude, eating all hell from Elvis Brenner, dude, and just shrugging it off basically and walking forward, dude. But man, that was another dogfight as well. Esteban Ribovics wins via decision. Dude, I cannot wait to see how high he can go up in this division, because he's young, dude. And these Argentinian fighters, both of them on this card, dude, just super clean boxing, man. I just, at least for MMA, decent leg kicks, decent kicks, but God, yeah, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. Give me your thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, I think exactly that, man. Both of these guys went to war. And the sad part was, I know this was in our pick champ. I was more so rooting for Elvis Brenner, because I love me some Elvis Brenner. I didn't want to see him go on a 3-fight losing streak, man.
They bought a car just because of the fight.
For him, and I still think Elvis Brenner is going to get a chance, because that dude is also bulletproof matchmaking. You put him in a fight, you're going to get a dogfight out of it. He's super tough. He gets his ass kicked in the first round, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? we're in a fight, dude. We're gonna fight, and all of a sudden he just, Elvis Brenner also just bites down, and he goes for it. But Esteban Ribovics, look, the UFC needs to do all fans a favor. Get this dude out of the Apex, man. Like like Elvis Brenner as well, but Elvis Brenner especially. But get Esteban Ribovics out of the Apex. Like if that fight is in front of a crowd, that crowd is going absolutely bonkers just because the way they were able to stand in there, especially in that third round where, especially like, I think it was like the last 2 minutes of the third round, like Elvis Brenner was trying his best to like kind of like stick and move. But there after a while, he just got tired and he was just like, screw it. And they're just sitting there just winging at it against each other, And both of the guys just went to war. For me personally, I guess maybe because I love both guys. And I love Chris Duncan too. I've actually picked Chris Duncan in a lot of fights too.
Yeah.
But I think just because, Ribovics and Brenner hold kind of like a special spot for me. This fight I thought was the fight of the night between the two. Like if I had to pick one. I think this one was the better fight, just by a smidge. But man, I love both guys. Esteban Ribovics, I'm with you. I can't wait to see him climb the ranks because that dude, and just must watch TV whenever he fights, man. Must watch TV.
Yeah. These Argentinian fighters are, proven to be more entertaining than I think anyone expected them to be. Like, like we had Santiago Ponzinibbio like in here for a little bit, but then, out of basically nowhere comes Esteban Ribovics, Francisco Parado. We have Kevin Vallejos that we're going to talk about. Alien Perez, dude. They're all, exciting in their own way, man. I love me some Argentinian fighters, dude. Hell yeah. Shout out to Argentina. Anyway, moving on down. We got Carol Hossa versus Nora Cornhole, dude. That one went basically the opposite of what we thought was going to happen. I mean, the right person won, dude, but Carol Hossa just basically laid on Nora Cornhole all 3 rounds, at least from what I remember from that fight. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, definitely didn't go how I thought it would, but I guess Carol Hossa is just repeating the trend in her career where it's like win one, lose one. She lost her last fight. She ain't going to lose 2 in a row, so trying to make sure she secured that win, and that she did, but fight was definitely forgettable.
Yeah, Dave saying Ribovics is a treat. The fight with Zellhuber now Brenner, dude, is there to bang. Indeed, dude. And if the person on the other end cannot receive the damage, dude, it is not a good night. Like, look at Terrence McKinney, dude. It's like usually, Terrence McKinney's a handful in the first round, but it's like, dude, T-Rex went to sleep with 1 head kick out cold. Like, that was like the first, 30 seconds of the fight?
Yeah. And the crazy part is, like, outside of, I think, that fight, like, all of Ribovics' fights that have, like, gone the distance, he's attempted, like, over 300 strikes in all those fights. Like, Ribovics is just, like when Brenner was going for the takedowns and Ribovics was still able to stuff them and then just get up and throw like 6-punch combos and end them with kicks. I'm like, this dude is a maniac. Like it's crazy. Like I'm just like I'm like flabbergasted watching the dude, man. He's that dude is much watch TV.
Indeed. Moving on down, the parlay wrecker of the week, because we basically everybody had this fight to go to decision whether you thought Elizeu Zaleski was going to win it or Neil Magny was going to win it. But Neil Magny wins this fight via 2nd round knockout. You want to talk about it, D-Rose?
Yeah, this one definitely hurt because you saw the parlay that I had sent you. I had a bet on Neil Magny, but this is the only leg in my parlay that missed. I had Neil Magny round 3 or decision. So I tried to play it a little bit safe, but I was like, well, maybe he'll get the finish in the 3rd, kind of wear on Zaleski dos Santos there at the end. Did not happen. I was getting excited because Neil Magny was losing the 2nd round, and then he started getting back into it. And
dude,
I was like, okay,
Zaleski gassed.
Yeah,
I was like the 7-minute mark happened, and then like Zaleski fucking looked at the clock and was like, I'm done. I'm out. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, he was trying to wrestle a lot, especially there at the end of the first round. Like, he was trying hard for a takedown, and I was like, all right, that's good for Neil Magny because he's going to be completely gassed here in the second round. Zaleski dos Santos started the second round okay. He was landing some pretty big shots. Like, they were kind of like scrapping there for a little bit. I think when Zaleski dos Santos' back was against the fence, he landed a couple big shots on Neil Magny. I thought he was going to, eventually drop Neil Magny because we've seen him, get dropped here the last couple fights. But Magny took the shots, stayed with it. Obviously ended up getting into the clinch, landing those knees, and that's kind of
Magniverse.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a thing that's gotten Zaleski dos Santos the last couple fights, and that clinch getting cracked to the knees, man. That's and as you said, I think he just got gassed and was out of there.
Yeah, man, drug him into the Magniverse as we predicted, but we didn't expect him to finish him. We got a question from Antoine D. Rose about football.
And
then Dave giving his opinion. All right.
He's not going to leave. He's not going to leave.
And then moving on down, dude, we got Danny Silva, Kevin Vallejos, dude. I'm not going to say it's a spitting image of Topuria, dude, but man, is the boxing not Topuria-esque from Kevin Vallejos? He's just right there the whole time, hands low, just throwing like mean hooks, clean combination, dude. But Danny Silva, tough as all hell, but dude, Kevin Vallejos is a special fighter, dude. 16-1 currently. His only loss is to John Silva via decision, man. This guy is going to be a problem for the whole division, and we probably get Kevin Vallejos versus John Silva, a rematch at some point, whether it's, for number one contender for the title or maybe even for the championship at some point, because the kid is still super young. What's your thoughts on Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos, and the thoughts on the Topuria comparison?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can see the Topuria comparisons. I heard a couple people, make the comparison to Topuria coming into the fight, and even his last few fights, just because they do have a very similar. They're very heavy on their front foot, but they're still able to avoid the leg kicks.
He throws kicks, those.
Yeah, that is one thing that he does do. He throws body kicks too. He doesn't really throw too many head kicks. He is a little bit on the shorter side, but he did throw plenty of body kicks and leg kicks. And I think for the most part that comparison is pretty solid. Their style is pretty similar, but obviously Topuria is a little bit more polished at this point. But yeah, I thought this was a good fight as well. I thought that that's why we had talked about it earlier. Silva's a tough fighter. Whether I think he's the best or not is one thing. I thought he might have lost a Josh Coolbaugh fight. I thought Josh Coolbaugh actually beat him, but but as far as like him being tough, willing to go for it, I knew this was going to be a really good test for Kevin Vallejos, and that's why it was a good performance for Kevin Vallejos. Everybody wanted to finish from him, but hey, he was able to go the 3 rounds, something that people haven't really seen from him yet. And for him to be so young to fight a good fighter like Danny Silva, I thought that was a good test for
him. Yeah, man. So moving on down, we have the prelims. We're just going to run through these real quick. Rinya Nakamura knocks out Nathan Fletcher in the first round. Rodolfo Vieira wins via decision against Tresean Gore. Dude, Tresean Gore waited on Rodolfo Vieira that whole fight for him to come take him down, and was fine just stuffing the takedowns, dude. You can't win the fight just doing that. Nick Klein showed up with 3 minutes of cardio against Andre Polayev. Gassed in the first round, came out in the second round, and then just got knocked out. Austin Bashi submits John Giannis. Yeah, Austin Bashi submits John Giannis in the first round via rear naked choke for our fisting of the week. He fisted him a few times. Rafael Estevam wins via decision against Felipe Buns, but Felipe Buns may not be Buns anymore, man. Maybe I can start calling him Felipe Bunes as his actual name, because he actually showed some threats there in the first round against the, overweight Rafael Esteban. If they let him fight again at 125, man, UFC needs to be like get new matchmakers, because this dude has yet made it one time and then has just went on to miss 125 every other time. And then Pierre Rodriguez burns us all, because everyone, at least everyone that I'm with, was on Kalen Souza this past weekend. Me and D Rose were. Thoughts on the prelims? Anything you want to talk about from the prelims specifically, D Rose? Go.
I was, obviously the pick champ difference. Trusting Trayshawn Gore. That was something that I don't know why I did. I was with you. I thought that Trayshawn Gore literally just waited the entire time and just was completely content with, as long as he wasn't on the ground, he would win the fight. But he was actually getting knuckled up on the feet as well. Like you don't need to be getting outstruck by Rodolfo Vieira, man. That's pretty rough. I mean, and maybe Trayshawn Gore was landing a good leg kick here or there, maybe a good jab, but that was about it, man. And even his corner going into the third round was like, hey, we need you to do something. We need a sense of urgency. Probably for the first 30 seconds of the round, in round 3, Trayshawn Gore did something. And then after that, it was just, backing up, making sure that he doesn't get taken down, leg kicks. And, man, just absolutely frustrating to watch when I didn't have a whole bunch of money bet on him, but I had him in a parlay with Chris Duncan. And then as you saw, I had Chris Duncan in a couple parlays. Only one of them ended up hitting. But yeah, I was definitely disappointed in that one. And Trayshawn Gore, I wouldn't be surprised if he got cut after this.
Yeah. Vulcan letting us know that he wants to share his underdog of the week, but he's going to wait for the breakdowns first. All right, brother. We will move right along. So that's going to be it for the fights this past weekend. Let's move into the Eat the Beans section. And, I might be moving, but I still got out that motherfucking pick champ, baby. I ain't letting it go. We got the pick champ this week. Different picks this past weekend were Rodolfo Vieira versus Trayshawn Gore, where I went Rodolfo Vieira. D Rose went Trayshawn Gore. Esteban Ribovics versus Elvis Brenner, where I went Esteban Ribovics, and D Rose went Elvis Brenner. So I had locked it up at that point. But our last one was Mateusz Raumbetsky versus Chris Duncan, where I almost got the clean sweep, but D Rose was able to not have to eat 3 beans this week. He's only got 2. So I'm going to cue the tunes, and D Rose can get to his, bean eating.
Man, unbelievable. Trayshawn Gore, you screwed me. I was money with Chris Duncan. I knew it. It's the bean pie.
You're going to get pumpkin.
I was hoping Elvis Brenner. I was like, man, my dog, come through for me.
You're going to throw up your dinner.
Oh, man.
Shout out Elvis Brenner for making D-Rose throw up his dinner.
Oh, peach or barf. Oh, man.
Come on, give him the barf.
Peach, baby.
Dude, I got that one last week. It's good, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's actually the best bean I've had.
Oh, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. All right. Hey, don't stop. Hey, it's bean pie. Oh, nah, it's the same color. I won't do that.
You're like, I don't want it to be barf now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, believe me, I would love to take another one.
You're like, give me a blue one. Give me a blue one. You're like, give me a blue one.
Yeah, for the sake of the pod. Oh man, Tutti Frutti.
Oh, has it got blue? Oh, that's gross. Good luck, man. I'm gonna full screen him for this one. Tutti Frutti is good though. I guess it wasn't Tutti Frutti.
Dude, it tastes like a locker room.
Yes.
Like, you know, when you walk into a locker room,
I had that one, yeah.
Like, dude, that's exactly what it tastes like. Oh my!
Like a locker. It does, man. It does. That one is.
Dude, it literally tastes like a locker room, dude. I'm telling you.
Horrible acting. No,
Nah, dude. Hey, it's not booger, so I'm okay. You know that's gonna put me in a coma. That's gross, 100%. But I'll in terms of which one's the worst, it's not up there with booger.
All right.
Sure.
Elvis Brenner let D Rose keep his dinner this week. Shout out Elvis Brenner, D Rose. You know who else we need to shout out this week, because it is Gilbert Urbina Fight Week, and he may get smoked this weekend. But in honor of Gilbert Urbina fighting this weekend, be sure to burn down some gelato in the parking lot, as he said he was doing the Apex that one time during COVID. He was like, if you want to come find me after the night, if you want to come find me after the fights, I'll be in the parking lot burning down some gelato. He just said that on the ESPN Apex card on ESPN. I'm just like, what is he doing? And then he hasn't fought for like 3 years.
It was a wild time during COVID, man. So people were cooped up for a little bit. So when they got a chance to get out, they were gas.
Yeah, I will be supporting Gilbert as well. Yeah, man. So we'll move on to our UFC news and fight announcement segment of the week. Let me share my screen real quick, and we will get into it. Our first one was not right after the podcast last week, but the next day after the podcast last week. And it is Mauricio Hoofy taking on BSD, Benoit Saint-Denis. Man, I feel bad for Benoit, man, but that's just because me and you both think that Hoofy is going to just basically, kick his head into the third row. But this is honestly a pretty solid test, because we haven't seen Hoofy's ground game really tested yet, and we know BSD is going to come out here with all fury trying to get this to the ground. So I guess, what's your thoughts on the matchup, man?
Yeah, for me, I as I told you, I was surprised that Saint Denis took this fight. I mean, I'm sure the dude's an absolute warrior. He's going to fight anybody. He doesn't care, and is going to be in Paris, so he's going to have that backing. And I will say, I actually went back and watched that Cyril Gane and Taito Iwasa fight. Dude, that French crowd, when they see their fighters fight, like, we'll talk about it coming up on that French card with Imavov and Bahia, but dude, that crowd is absolutely crazy. Like, they might be like top of the game right now, just in terms of crowds who support their fighters the most. Like, so I do think that is something that Saint Denis that other intangible that Saint Denis could pull to maybe power him through this fight. But I just think stylistically, Saint Denis, even though he does have the wrestling that could test Hoofy, he just gets hit a lot. Like, it doesn't matter who he fights, and he has not changed his style. And we even saw in his last fight, I can't even remember the guy who he fought. That's how irrelevant the guy was. Saint Denis even getting lit up against him on the feed. A guy that was taking the fight on short notice, where Saint Denis should have ran through him. It took him a little bit. So yeah, a guy like Hoofy, who's a sharp counter striker, that's a bad matchup for BSD, man. Just in my opinion.
We got Dixon saying someone needs to introduce BSD to a shower so he stops getting staff, right, dude? He has like staff every fight, man. But so does Marab, though. Marab's got staff like every fight, too. So, like, what's wrong with these dudes? After watching that fight back, D-Rose, how do you feel about Cyril's chances versus Tom? Like, who's better?
I think that, the striking, I just think that Tom's going to end up honestly just tackling him. I just think he's going to tackle Cyril Gane, take him down, and either ground and pound him or sub him. I really think that's the difference. Tom's the better boxer. Gane's the better striker, but Tom's the better fighter.
Yeah, for sure. We got Atiba Gaudier not wasting any time getting back to UFC 320. He is going to be taking on Ozzy Diaz, dude, and giving him like another one of these like Jose Medina types. Just a tough guy, man. What's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this could potentially be a good fight, but Ozzy Diaz is a guy who has been kind of served up to be that guy who's going to get knocked out. So, Gautier could be going in there and getting some more experience, or could just be going up in there and getting another easy dub. I think it's get the easy dub. I think Gautier smokes him, in my opinion.
Yeah, Antoine saying it's crazy the disrespect Cyril gets because he lost to John. I think it's because the clip that's been going around for a while now of Imavov ragdolling him. Like, that shouldn't happen. A middleweight Imavov should not be ragdolling Cyril Gane as a heavyweight. It just shouldn't happen. Yeah,
I mean, Antoine is right though that the John fight, that's when a lot of Cyril Gane disrespect started. I mean, for me personally, I think I told you it was with the performance. I think it was against Rosenstrike back in the day, and then I think a lot of people as well for Cyril Gane. He did not beat Alexander Volkov in that last fight, and he just didn't. And Cyril Gane got the win anyway. There's been a lot of resentment for Gane for a while now, and I think everybody's just ready for Tom to kind of smash him and get it over with.
Yeah, man. We got Skunks in here with the dudes. What's going on, Skunks? How you doing, brother? Our next one is we got Joe Pyfer taking on Abus Magomedov October 4th. You think this fight happens? Something just kind of tells me this fight ain't going to happen, dude. I guess it's in Abu Dhabi.
No, I think that the October 4th card, that's the Pereira Ankalaev card. That card's in
Okay.
Vegas. Okay. Yeah, Aspinall and Cyril Gane are going to fight in Abu Dhabi. But
that makes sense.
This will be in Vegas. I think Joe Pyfer's been pretty clear that he wants to make sure he fights in America from now on. So yeah, I can see it happening. And Abus has fought in the Apex, and I think his last fight it might have been in Vegas as well against Michel Pereira. So yeah, I definitely see this fight happening. I just think these are two first-round warriors, guys who are, electric in the first round. And, after that, their gas tank just completely falls off a cliff. We saw Joe Pyfer, kind of knock around Kelvin Gastelum in the first two rounds. And in that third round, he's hanging on for dear life to, hang on and win that fight. And Abus, he's gotten a little bit better about fighting better as the fight goes, with his cardio and everything. But this is an interesting matchup, man. I'll be interested to see how it plays out.
Anton wants to know, who do we think UFC likes better?
I mean, in turn, I don't know if it's as much as who do they like more. I think who could have more potential marketability for them. I would say, Joe Pyfer, somebody like that. He's fiery, he's passionate. I think that's something that the UFC machine could get behind. Abus doesn't really have a personality or anything that much, and he doesn't really have like a pretty decent highlight reel. At least Joe Pyfer does go in there and try to knock people out, and tries to get the finish.
And so the comment section, don't get mad at me. You care about this PFL fight, Artem Lobov versus Zabira Tukugov on Abu Dhabi, October 3rd?
Not really, but I just think it's funny that Artem Lobov, I thought he was retired. I mean, he hasn't.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, it's like fucking people expect us to care about these fucking fights, dude. Both these dudes have been fucking cut from the UFC for years at this point. Why would we care about PFL, GFL, Bellator, anything else that goes on? If these fighters have been cut from the UFC, I'm not trying to tune into them. They're clearly not in their prime anymore. There's a few fighters that I'm going to watch out for, Dakota Ditcheva, I'll wait for like Makayev to fight again, but it's like I'm not going out of my way to watch these full events because mostly it's fights like this, dude. It's like I don't care what happens here, and I'm gonna sound like a hater, but I like watching good fights, and PFL the majority of the time does not have good fights. Anyway, thoughts on that?
Yeah, wasn't that kind of the source of the Conor McGregor whole thing when he came crashing in on the plane and was ready to fight Habib and all that? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
With Zabira and Artem, like, wasn't that where it started from? So maybe a way to kind of play into that beef a little bit, but other than that, and Artem isn't even really friends with Conor McGregor at this point. They had a fallout over the proper 12 stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's I'm with you. I don't really care about the fight, but I'll probably look at the highlights after the fight, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to find it to watch it.
Yeah, man. Awesome, Mary. Going to UFC Noche, possibly. I don't really like the ticket prices right now, so I'm hoping that fucking some of these dickheads, trying to fucking resell their tickets, have to either drop them or end up losing out on fucking money altogether. So possibly Antoine, but I don't have tickets yet. It's funny a catch weight, but it's out in October. Like, why can't y'all agree on a weight class like it's in October, dude? A catch weight? That's wild. Do you think UFC will ever lose their monopoly on the sport of MMA? I think it'll be tough, Antoine, just because they have the best fighters, man. Do you think the Cowboys are going to rebuild around CD heroes? And then I'll pull up our next bit of news.
I mean, yeah, build around CD. I mean, what are you? You build around CD. That's what you do. But I mean, you got Dak at quarterback. He's been all right, but there's a lot I can get into. But this is a UFC podcast.
Yeah, I sent this to D Rose earlier. I posted this on my story earlier. What's happening? Whose dick did Chris Dawkins have to slob on to get back into the UFC, man? Because it's just like in the UFC, he was just getting mollywopped and mollywopped and mollywopped. I will never forget what Roman Dolidze did to him, dude. He had him pinned up against the cage, looked over at the commentators and said, "Haha, watch this." And then just smashed Chris Dawkins' face, dude. Is this Chris Dawkins? Kyle Dawkins. Anyway, one of the Dawkins, dude. But yeah, dude, smashed his face, and he was ended up having to get some kind of fucking plate surgery in his face. Kyle Dawkins. There we go. But he is going to take the place for Marco Tulio that pulled out. It was going to be Michel Pereira versus Marco Tulio, but something's happening. So Kyle Dawkins is flying to Shanghai to fight Michel Pereira in China at probably like 4 a.m. U.S. time. Oh, that was fun. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I'm we talked about this earlier. It looks like it's a quick turnaround. They're just kind of, the UFC is almost in a position where they're like, hey, are you available? Can you make weight? Let's do it, and go ahead. I'm surprised that, I saw, as you said, the Joe Piper fight was at a catch weight. I'm surprised the UFC did that because they typically don't like, any catch weight fights or anything like that, and they hate when fighters miss weight. So, I would imagine that they would ask Dawkins if he could make weight, and will be a stipulation for him getting back into the UFC. So let's see how it goes. But I mean, I still think Michel Pereira should be able to win the fight. But it's no surprise to me to see Dawkins back, just because the UFC is kind of in a position to say, hey, we need to keep this card filled. If you can make weight, if you can make it, you fought in the company before, we'll give you a 3 or 4 fight contract, come back on in and fill up this card spot for us.
Yeah, because he was he at 205 and then dropped down to 185, or he was at 185 and then dropped down to 170?
No, he was at 180 and 185, and I think he might have tried 170 once, and then I know Chris Dawkins.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight and then
he was
dropped
a
down to
heavyweight, dropped down
205.
to 205. I do know that, but yeah, I can't remember if Dawkins or Kyle Dawkins actually tried welterweight or not. But that sounds right.
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. No, Austin still got those Michel Pereira cards. Well, he should win this one, man. If he loses this one, that's an issue. And then yeah, man, that's all I have for this week. Shout out Homo Fights for posting your news this week, or your fight announcements this week. We will move on to the fun part of the show, pretty much while all y'all are here. Our UFC Vegas 109 Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy Hernandez. Our preview, our predictions, and our picks for this upcoming weekend's fight. So I'm going to share my screen, and we will start. Well, I clicked the wrong button. I don't know what's happening. Cancel. Screen share.
Let's
my
both
screen.
make sure that we save our picks this time, because we have been the last couple weeks not been saving our picks.
I'm pretty solid at saving my picks. I just have to go back and save them, and then I'll let you know, hey, D Rose, you didn't save your picks either, man. All right, Austin, letting Dave know he's still buying them too, because I'm awful with money. It's all right. They knew they knew what they were doing by giving Chris to Khalil. What are they doing for Duplessis versus Chimaev? What are the betting odds for Duplessis versus Chimaev? I think right now, Hamzat's like a -200 favorite. Dricus is like +175. Dave said, I know the feeling to Austin about holding on to the card. So we'll get into the card for this weekend. We are headlined by Anthony Fluffy Hernandez taking on Roman Dolidze. I said that backwards. I may be dyslexic. I'm not sure, dude. But anyway, moving on down. This, thankfully, will be starting at 4:30 p.m. East Coast time. Why did it start last week at 6? I don't know. But it is an Apex card. Going to be 12 fights taking place at the UFC Apex, obviously. 12 fights headlined by Roman, the Caucasian Dolidze, taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Co-main event, D-Rose, is Steve Astro Boy Urseg taking on Ode, the Jamaican sensation, Osborne. We've got Yasmin Lucindo taking on Angie Overkill Hill. We've got Andre Touchy-Feely taking on Christian C-Rod Rodriguez. We've got Miles Johns taking on John Matsumoto. We've got Eric Ya Boy Anders taking on CLD Christian Leroy Duncan. We've got Julius Juicebox Walker taking on Rafael Cerqueira. We've got Elijah Smith taking on Tashomi Kazama. We have Jocelyn Edwards taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. We have Urosh Medic taking on the RGV bad boy, Gilbert Urbina. Urosh Medic is the doctor, by the way. We have Gabby Fernandez taking on Julija Stoliarenko. And then our opening fight of the night, D-Rose. Did you even know this one was added to the card? It was added Monday night. It is Cody Brundage taking on Eric McConaughey.
I did see that last second. I think I saw it yesterday. Was when I seen it, and I was like, "What in the world?" I didn't even realize Cody Brundage was fighting, and yeah, that definitely threw me for a loop. But it's Cody Brundage, so I can only get so anticipated.
Yeah, man, what are you doing for the Shanghai card? It starts at 3 a.m. Oh.
My boy gonna have the alarm set for 2 a.m.
2? Why would I get up at 2? That's an hour before the fights.
You're gonna make sure you got enough time to get you some breakfast, get settled in, get you a nice little smoke. You'll probably take a nice nap the day before, so that way you can stay up all night and watch the card from the time that it starts until it's over, and then you'll go to sleep afterwards.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Antoine's saying this is to get Cody a win. He's a nice guy. We know what Dave's doing. All right. Well, we know how Dave's going to stay awake. Anyway, fights canceled from this card was Mayer Bueno Silva versus Jocelyn Edwards, Alex Perez versus Steve Ursay, and Steve Ursay versus Hyung Sung Park because he fought Tatsuro Taira this past weekend. So, start off with the first fight of the night. It is Cody Brundage taking on Eric Makanico. Cody Brundage, 31 years old. Here, let me share the other page instead. Share this tab instead. Cody Brundage is 11-6 overall. 31 years old, 6 foot, and a 72-inch reach out of his last 5 fights. D Rose, 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss in his last 5 fights. That's basically Jimmy Crute's record over his last 5 fights that fought a few weeks ago. He's taking on Eric Makanico, that is 9-3-1 overall. He lost his last fight. That was against Nursultan Rizabova in the second round. That was 5 months ago. He is 35 years old, 6 foot, and a 77-inch reach. Currently, odds for this fight are -160, Cody Brundage, and Eric Makanico is +124, D-Rose. I have to let you know, D-Rose, because the last time that he fought, I told you I was with you. I was like, I won't do it anymore. If he's involved, I won't bet the over. I won't bet the under. I'm not going to touch it, dude. When this fight, when I heard that it got announced, I wanted to see the odds, dude. Can you tell me why Cody Brundage opened up like a +150 dog?
Because he's Cody Brundage.
Yeah.
That's why.
The odds have now flipped. -160, Cody Brundage, +124 for Eric Makanico. Everyone and their mom has now came in and bet Cody Brundage. And I am no longer interested, dude. I was maybe interested as a dog because Eric Makanico is ass, dude. But, yeah, now that Cody Brundage is the dog, is the favorite? Hell no. Hell no. I'm glad it flipped because I didn't want to bet it. And if I would have, it wouldn't have been in any of my parlays. It just would have been just straight up that's just the one. Let me throw a 5 at it and see what happens. But yeah, for me, it's Cody Brundage round 1 knockout. That's my pick, D Rose. So I'm gonna pass it to you, my friend. Which way are you going? After I make my pick.
I almost want to say that the fight's going to go to a draw just because it's a Cody Brundage fight. And anything is possible. Anything is possible with this guy. You don't know if it's going to be a draw. You don't know if it's going to be a no contest. It could very well be that too. Who's to say?
It'll be a disqualification.
Who's to say that it ends up being a no? If there was a betting line for no contest, that's the only thing I would potentially bet.
Dude, what are the odds for Hornswoggle coming out from underneath the octagon, hitting him with the shillelagh? Because that might happen in a Cody Brundage fight.
And what did Kevin Garnett say after the Celtics won the title in 2008? Anything's possible. Anything is possible in a Cody Brundage fight, dude. No, nothing is off limits. Man, and I'm not picking Cody Brundage.
Not even picking him?
I don't care how ass Eric Makanico is. I'm going Eric Makanico by.
What if it comes down to the pick champ?
I think it's going to be a sloppy, ugly decision. And it's going to be a terrible fight because both guys are coming in on short notice. Having to weigh in at light heavyweight. This is not.
Is it light heavyweight? Oh yeah, it is light heavyweight.
Yeah, it's going to be a light heavyweight. So yeah, let's not act like this is going to be a fun fight. But I think Makanico gets it done by a boring decision.
All right, D-Rose, are you ready to put beans on the line for that?
At this point, I how I am with Cody Brundage. Why? And I can't tell you the last time I have picked him to win a fight. So, yeah.
Austin letting Dave know he's wild. Live stream Matt would be super lit, and that's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, maybe I could do a live stream for Shanghai, Antoine. Possibly. That's probably like the only way I would stay up. And Dave let us know that he indeed likes the party. So we'll move on to the next fight, where we have Gabriela Fernandez taking on Dolidze Stoliarenko. Gabby Fernandez is 10-3-0 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she is 3 wins and 2 losses. Win in LFA. In her UFC debut, she lost to Jazz. In her second fight, she did lose to Teresa Bleda. Both heavy wrestlers, though. And then she did win a split decision against Carly Judice. Looking back now, that is aging like fine wine. And then she head kicked and then rear naked choked Kong Wong 8 months ago. Anyway, she is 31 years old, 5'6" and a 66-inch reach. And Julia Stoliarenko is 11-8-1 overall, and I think she has 10 round 1 arm bars zeros out of her 11 wins. Anyway, she is 32 years old, 5'7" and a 69-inch reach. And before we get started too much more on this card, I do have to let you know, D-Rose, my interest on betting the main card of these fights is basically zero. I think all my betting will be taking place on the prelims this weekend. I'll be getting in and out this weekend, dude, and I don't think I'm going to touch a lot of the main card. I'm trying to keep it safe this weekend, man, because these Apex cards are just rough.
Yeah, they definitely can be, and especially the no crowd. You don't know how that's going to play into the energy. Like I said, I love the fights with the crowd because the crowd can kind of feed into it with the fighters. But when it's a dead environment and you just don't know, it's different motivations for different guys, and some of the fights definitely end up not how you think.
Yeah, indeed. So, my pick for this is going to be Gabriela Fernandez to win this fight via ground and pound when Julia Stoliarenko is trying to pull some sort of, pull guard into armbar. I don't know if it's going to happen late first round or early second round. So let's go round 2 TKO for Gabriela Fernandez. I think Julia is going to try to pull guard and just get pounded out, man. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I think Gabriela Fernandez.
I'm gonna grab something. I'll be right back.
As you said, that win against Carly Judice is starting to age very well, and she has the great performance against Wang Tong. So, she's been on a roll here her last couple of fights. Julia Stoliarenko is, as you see, she's win 1, lose 1. She is coming off a loss. So, is she due for a win? Potentially. I don't like the line.
No, she's not.
Yeah. No, I'm actually with you. No, she's not. No matter how much I'm trying to sell it. But Gabriela Fernandez, I don't like that she's as big of a favorite as she is. So that's the only thing that worries me. But yeah, I do think Gabriela Fernandez, I think she should be able to get the job done. I am with you in terms of I think Julia Stoliarenko is going to try to keep pulling guard, try to see if she can maybe get the fight down to the ground. I think Fernandez has tried to land, enough ground and pound to add up the damage. But I think Julia Stoliarenko, she's going to be savvy enough to keep herself safe. She is willing to get knocked out to go for the armbar. But I think in this case, I think she tries to stay safe and, not take too much damage. And I think Fernandez wins the decision.
I don't think dude, when the last time she ever went to decision? You know what? I'm not going to hate your pick. I'm not going to hate your pick, man. Anyway, we got let's see. Anton wants to know, would you ever buy tickets to the Apex card, Matt? If they're like $60, I would go if they were the price of a regular fight night card, like $200, $300. But the Apex fight cards are like $1,500, I think. Just way too much. Like fucking more than a pay-per-view, Antoine. I'm not paying more than a pay-per-view to go to the Apex. And how much would you pay to go to a fight card, D-Rose? I think he might be frozen. All right, the tiny octagon needs to go. There's plenty of space for the big one in the Apex now. I feel you. Should be only for Chelsea Chandler fights. All right, so while D Rose is getting unfrozen here, odds for the Gabriela Fernandez fight is minus 425 Gabriela Fernandez and plus 330 for Julia Stoliarenko. So I'm on round 2 knockout for Gabriela Fernandez, and D Rose is picking Gabriela Fernandez via decision. So we'll wait on him to come back. I'll go ahead and get started on the next one, though. That is Urosh, the Dr. Medic, taking on the RGV bad boy, Gilbert Urbina. Odds for the fight are currently minus 455 for Urosh Medic. Gilbert Urbina is plus 350, the underdog. Urosh Medic is a excellent striker coming out of Serbia. He did fight out of the Alaska FC promotion, which, from basically every other person coming out of that promotion has been kind of ass, but he seems to be the best fighter that has came out of Alaska FC. And on the other hand, Gilbert Urbina, his chin is just not good. Let's be real. He was getting dropped by jabs from Tresean Gore on The Ultimate Fighter. And, fast forward now, we know that Tresean Gore doesn't have lethal power like he was making it look on The Ultimate Fighter. So shout out the RGV bad boy. Hope you can burn down some gelato in the parking lot this week after your fight. But I do have to go Urosh Medic to probably knock you out in round number 1. So let's see. D Rose is not back, so once he does get back, I'll pass it back to him. But for the time being, we'll move on to the next one. That is Jocelyn La Pantera Edwards taking on Zombie Girl Priscilla Cachoeira. Odds for the fight, where are they at? Are minus 325 for D Rose. He might have to join from his phone. All right, I'll send him the link on his phone. How do I do that? Let's see. Man, there we go. Apologize, you guys. Man, I can't log into my. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I normally do, Antoine. He said he was going to have to join from his phone. Let's see. Let me see. I can probably send it like this. Let me take a picture of it, and I'll copy it and I'll send it to him. That'll work. Copy link and then send it to D Rose. There we go. Anyway, so if he pops in here, he'll probably be on his phone. But anyway, sorry for the stall, you guys. I'll see what you guys got to say. Let's see. Must be become. Hey, there's D Rose popping back in with this cellular device. So I'll rewind for just a second, D Rose, and I'll let you make your pick on Urosh Medic, Gilbert Urbina, because I made my pick. It was Urosh Medic round 1 knockout.
I actually think the same thing myself. I do think that Urosh Medic gets it done round 1 KO. Yeah, I have no idea what my internet is doing right now. The crazy part is I'm still sitting in the same spot, and I have the internet connected to my cell phone, which I'm connected down here. It's saying on my Chromebook that there's a configuration error and I have no idea what it's doing. But yeah, this is it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I do think that Uros Medic, I think he's a slick striker, slick on the feet. I think he gets it done. Round 1 KO. Urbina is there to be hit. Urbina gets hit plenty. So yeah, I think I think Uros Medic gets it done round 1 KO.
All right, so we'll move on to the next one. That is Jocelyn Edwards taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. I kind of already broke down, or I'm not sure if I fucking broke it down. Odds for the fight, minus 325, Jocelyn Edwards. Priscilla Cachoeira, plus 260, the underdog. Man, Jocelyn Edwards has been training with Valentina Shevchenko over the past 2 years now, dude, and it's really starting to show. And before Antoine even types it in the chat, like, I'm sure like he's gonna say Jocelyn Edwards low-key thick, or Jocelyn Edwards low-key fine. Like, that's like his favorite thing to comment on Jocelyn Edwards fight week. So shout out Antoine, because she's good and she is heavy in the bottom. That is without a doubt. She's got a good base. When she first came to the UFC, she was just getting taken down with ease. Where did D-Rose go? Where did D-Rose go again? I don't even know what happened. Anyway, he has the link if he wants to come back in here now. Anyway, her takedown defense has gotten way better, and she's been going for takedowns herself. She is 15-6 out of her last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses, 29 years old, 5'8" and a 70-inch reach, while Priscilla Cachoeira, 5'7", 65-inch reach. Out of her last 5 fights, 3 wins, 2 losses as well. 36 years old, though. And if we're going to be real, her ground game is absolute trash. So for me, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Jocelyn Edwards submits Priscilla Cachoeira in round number 2 this week, just because she's been training with Valentina. There is a game plan to beat Zombie Girl at this point. Go out there, take her down, put her in a choke, and she's going to tap. Just watch your eyes, because she might try to poke you in the eyes. So I'm going Jocelyn Edwards via round 2 submission, or do we go? Let's go round 3 submission, just to cover it all bases. Late in the fight, Jocelyn Edwards round 3 submission. Where's D-Rose at now? Let's see what he has to say now. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's see what you guys got going on. Matt, do you have a favorite female fighter? My favorite fighter is actually a woman, Valentina. My favorite female fighter is probably D-Rose. Who's my favorite female fighter? I don't know. Right now, I like Mackenzie Dern. I like Tracy Cortez. I don't know.
Yeah, Rainey Aldana, one of your favorites.
Yeah, Rainey Aldana's fun. Just fun fighters. Like, I don't know. D-Rose look even better on iPhone. D-Rose, why'd you leave that time?
Because the sound went out. Because I was trying to connect my Bluetooth headset, and then when I tried doing that, for some reason, it just completely went out, and I couldn't get the sound back. So I was like, I'm going to have to exit and come back in here, I guess.
Yeah, and don't forget the Loopy Godinez. Matt's always been a Loopy fan. Indeed. Fucking there for a while, I was at more Loopy Godinez fights than I was not at Loopy Godinez fights.
That is true.
Every single time I would go to a fight card.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, I don't know how I let Loopy slip my mind either. Like, yeah, out of all the ones, yeah, that's definitely. She's definitely top 5 for sure. But yeah, I always think about Rainey Aldana because you picked her to beat Nunes.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, you rode hard with it.
Yeah, man, I had to. So you missed this one, D-Rose. So Jocelyn Edwards, Priscilla Cachoeira. I picked Jocelyn Edwards to win via 3rd round submission, simply because she's been training with Valentina. There is a game plan to beat Zombie Girl. Go out there, take her down. I don't think she's lethal. She's not a wizard on the ground by any means. But I think at some point in this fight, Jocelyn Edwards is able to catch Priscilla Cachoeira and let's just say rear naked choke. She just got to watch her eyes and not get poked, and she should be good.
Yeah, or not poked. her odds will get gouged if she's not careful fighting Priscilla Cachoeira. She'll do that. I mean, I'm surprised that she hasn't just straight up grabbed the woman's twat in a fight and just tried to grab it and twist it at this point, as the one guy in the crowd would say, grab and twist it. But I think Jocelyn Edwards, she's going to be the bigger fighter. And I will say that Jocelyn Edwards has been one of the ones that, as you were talking about favorite female fighters, she's, she might not be top 5, but you have continuously backed Jocelyn Edwards, even when I've been like, man, she is garbage. Like, she's trash. She's you're like, she's a pretty good, she's a pretty good striker. You stuck with her, and she's looked better her last few fights. So, I'll give Jocelyn Edwards that, but I think the matchup is good here for her as well. So I think Jocelyn Edwards gets it done. I say I'm gonna go round 2 TKO. I think she ends up getting the ground and pound victory.
Okay. All right. Me and D-Rose both on Jocelyn Edwards to get the finish this weekend against Zombie Girl Priscilla Cachoeira. So we'll move on to the next fight. That is Elijah Swift Smith taking on the silent finisher, Tashomi Kazama. Elijah Smith is 8-1 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is undefeated at 5-0. He is 8-1 overall. Decision win over Vince Morales 5 months ago in a close fight. Dude, he showed me a lot in that fight because I picked Vince Morales to win that fight. And I'm not saying Vince Morales is great by any means, but he has had a lot of improvements outside the UFC and came back and showed some skills, but just getting not the best matchups. And he was in a dogfight against Aaron Tao on the Contender Series. He's only 22 years old, 5'9", a 71-inch reach, but he's going up against an absolute flaming trash can that is Tashomi Kazama. He does have a win over, Charlampos Gregorio 11 months ago, but before that, lost to Garrett Armfield via knockout, lost to Rinya Nakamura via knockout, and then that was on the road to the UFC. He's 28 years old, 5'7", a 69-inch reach, but has no chin, dude. He's going to sell out for the grappling, but his striking is just non-existent, dude. And that being said, I have to go Elijah Smith to probably knock this dude out in round number 1. And I don't even think Elijah Smith is like a lethal finisher like that, but Kazama's chin is just bad, man. He's just not good on the feet. Which way are you going here? Did I say odds? Minus 700 for Elijah Smith, plus 500 for Tashomi Kazama.
Yeah, potential fisting of the week candidate. I don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket, but I have to say a potential fisting of the week candidate. I think Elijah Smith, he does start out like a ball of hot fire. So I do think that, once he starts getting matched up a little bit in the bantamweight division, he'll start to kind of, realize that he needs to pace himself. But I think against a guy like Kazama, who has been finished in the past, I think that's that's a good way to start for Smith to kind of get started early, land some big shots, use some of that wrestling that we know that he can use. Maybe get a ground and pound victory here. I'm with you. I'm going round 1 ground and pound for Elijah Smith.
All right. I don't think we talked about it, but this is also a potential for fisting of the week, the Eros Medic versus Gilbert Urbina, yeah?
Yeah, no, that's also a candidate as well. Eros Medic is, and that's one of my guys as well. So, hey, I'll support that.
Yeah. I don't remember if you picked on that fight 100% or not, because you were like kind of popping in and out. So did you pick in that fight?
Yeah, I had Eros Medic round one knockout.
Okay, fair enough. D-Rose going boomer mode with the camera. How do you feel about
100%, dude? Straight up onk mode. I'm trying to figure out how to hold this thing. How
don't you just prop it up against your Chromebook and just leave it there? It's in the same spot.
It was just kind of tilted off to the side a little bit. Not how I wanted it, but we'll make it work, I suppose.
What's happening? Look at the off the sideways. You got to turn your phone, man.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to do, I got the charger on it because my battery isn't at the middle.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, my battery. I mean, I might have enough to get us through here, but yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, boys.
And how do you feel about Smith getting signed super young? If I was to get signed, Dave's like, too high for this. If I was to get signed, I think like 27, 28 is a pretty solid age to get signed to the UFC. 22, 23 is pretty young in my personal opinion. Moving on, though, we have another potential. Actually, this will be a fisting of the week, man. We've got Juice Box, Julius Walker, 6-1, taking on Rafael Cerqueira, dude. Juice Box, Julius Walker's only loss was to Alonzo Menifield via split decision on short notice 5 months ago. He's 26 years old, 6'4" and a 78-inch reach, while Rafael Cerqueira is 11-2 overall. He's lost both his UFC fights against Ivo Aslan and Modest Bukowski Ass. So he's just losing to ass fighters. He is 35 years old, 6'3" and a 76-inch reach. And we were just talking about someone not having a chin in Kazama. But Jesus Christ, Rafael Cerqueira has no fucking chin, dude. And if Julius Walker comes out here and throws heat like he was throwing at Alonzo Menifield, he's getting this dude out of here in the first round, dude. So for me, it's a round 1 knockout for the Juice Box, Julius Walker, to fist the asshole of Rafael Cerqueira in this fight, man. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess did everybody not remember that fight with Menifield ended up being very garbage at the end of that fight?
Really? You think so? Yeah. Maybe at the end, because fucking Juice Box like went balls to the wall trying to fucking finish Alonzo, but it's like he just couldn't get him out of there. But who finishes Alonzo Menifield, really? Like, like Carlos Ulberg, that's about it.
Oven St. Preux. Yeah, I mean,
that was a while ago, but this is UFC debut short notice. Like, he fucking wasn't training for Alonzo Menifield.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, I'm still gonna go Julius Walker here, but I don't know if I'm as strong as you are as a candidate for the fisting, just because, man, Julius Walker, I don't know. I guess I just wasn't super impressed with the performance against Alonzo Menifield.
I think after this fight, you're going to be like, dude, you were so fucking right. This is one of the fights that I am 100% betting on this weekend. And odds for Julius Walker, round 1, round 2 knockout currently, because FanDuel is on it this week, D-Rose. Julius Walker, round 1, round 2 knockout is currently minus 140, dude. So that is a perfect parlay piece, in my opinion. He's getting Rafael Cerqueira out of there early and often. If this fight happened 10 times, dude, he's knocking Rafael Cerqueira out in the first round. 8 of those, and the other 2 times it's probably round 2. So, yeah, for me, round 1 knockout, Julius Walker. Are you picking the same, or are you going a different method?
I mean, I'll go round 2 knockout for Julius Walker, but not but again, not super confident, man. Not gonna lie.
All right, moving on. We'll move on to the main card, and the I would say the fights I'm not going to be betting as much on. The ones that I'm not going to be as confident in, because some of these odds are just blown out, and it's like, man, I don't want anything to do with these damn fights. Odds for this one is plus 410, Eric Anders. CLD, Christian Leroy Dunk, is minus 550. The favorite, Eric, your boy Anders, is 17-8 overall out of his last 5 fights. 3 wins and 2 losses. A loss to Jung Young Park, win over Kyle Dawkins, a loss to Marc-Andre Barrio. Then he got sober and beat Jamie Pickett, but he got dropped in that fight, dude. And then he was getting wobbled around by Chris Weidman 7 months ago, dude. Man, maybe he needs to get back on the sauce. He wasn't getting fucking, dropped by Jamie Pickett and fucking wobbled by Chris Weidman. But he is 38 years old, so that could take an effect because, as we all know, he did play college football, and CTE is heavy in football, especially in Alabama, dude. So 6'1" and a 75-inch reach. He's taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD, if you will, 11-2 overall. Out of England. He's 30 years old, 6'2" and a 79-inch reach. I already said odds, minus 550 for CLD, plus 410 for Eric Anders. Dude, you know what I say every single time Christian Leroy Duncan fights. It's like, man, he's such a good fighter, but he's a fucking idiot. He's a dumbass. He just goes in there and fucks off all 3 rounds, dude. He has the tools to finish any fight at any moment, but he goes in there and throws spinning back asses and, shit like that. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, can we just fight? Can you just try to finish the fight? But he's not going to do that, man. So, gun to my head, if I had to make a bet here, the over-under is 2.5 currently, over minus 188. But I think the over 1.5 on DK right now at minus 370 is an excellent parlay piece if you had to bet this fight. But as far as picking a winner here, dude, I will not be betting it. But I guess I'll go CLD via the decision because he has no finishing instinct, man, at all. Not even in the slightest. Which way are you going here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super confident in CLD as well. I've never really been a big CLD believer. He does. I like how you phrase it, spinning back asses. I mean, I call it the little butt. He goes for like butt bumps and stuff like that. Like, bro, I swear that he goes for butt bumps in fights, man. And it's like, dude, like I can't take you serious, and you're sitting here trying to butt bump a guy in the middle of the fight, like.
Like,
there's no way. I can't.
Like, why are you throwing it? You're not going to knock him out with, like, what's the goal here?
Yeah, I mean, if people kill Jordan Levitt for twerking after the fight, I mean, CLD is twerking during the fight. Like, why are we not killing him because of this? We're going to kill Jordan Levitt for twerking. Let's kill CLD the same. Eric Anders, I think he's just a little bit older, a little bit slower at this point. Can he potentially try to use a little bit of his wrestling? Sure, but I still think that CLD has the more talent at this point, I would say, just in terms of overall striking and takedown defense and all that. We just need to see Christian Leroy Duncan locked in. That's the biggest thing you need to see from him. But I think this is a matchup made for him to win. Am I going to bet this fight? Hell no, I'm not betting this fight. Not a chance in the world. But I'm still going to stick with CLD to get it done. I'm going to say by decision.
Fair enough. Do you have members that support the Roll Tide, dear? I personally do not.
No.
All right. Fair enough. Me and D-Rose both on Christian Leroy Duncan to win the fight via decision. So we'll move on to the next one where we have Miles Chapo Johns taking on John Matsumoto. Odds for the fight. Miles Chapo Johns is plus 260. The underdog, John Matsumoto, is minus 325. The favorite. Over under is 2.5 here. The over minus 298. The under is plus 220. Miles Johns is 15-3 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has won. What is this? Unanimous? No contest. Yeah. Oh yeah, because that got overturned. I think it was either steroids or cocaine. One of those two. I don't know. Anyway. He has a win over Vince Morales, win over Cody Gibson, and a win over Douglas Da Silva, DeAndrade. And 7 months ago, he lost to Felipe Lima via decision, where Felipe Lima was able to go out there and wrestle Miles Johns, which is kind of surprising because Miles Johns is known to be a pretty solid wrestler. Anyway, he is 31 years old, 5'7", and a 66-inch reach, while John Matsumoto, 16-1 overall, and his only loss was 5 months ago to Rob Font via split decision, dude, and that was a rather close fight. Anyway, he's 25 years old, 5'6", and a 68-inch reach. Yeah, man, I personally see John Matsumoto just coming out here and just boxing Miles Johns up 2, maybe 3 rounds. Does he get the 3rd round knockout? I'm going to be taking 3 or decision, D-Rose. I'm going to put 3rd round knockout, but 3 or decision will be my bet if I had to bet here. Miles Johns is a solid wrestler, but he doesn't wrestle, dude. He goes out there and strikes and gets tired striking and then tries to resort to his wrestling when he's tired and he has no strength to take these fighters down. The game plan isn't there. And even though he's 15-3, a lot of these fights are going to fucking split decision, dude. And you have to find a case to let Miles Johns win these fights, dude. So I don't know what the judges are fucking seeing, but I think John Matsumoto comes out here and just outboxes Miles Johns, stuff to takedowns, and just maybe finishes him in the third round, man. So which way you going, brother?
Yeah, I think I did pick Matsumoto in his last fight, and I had a bet on him, and he did burn me in that fight. I was big on him winning that fight, but Rob Font, he's going to give anybody a tough test. I think Miles Johns, we've seen the best of him. Really Miles Johns is just big overhand right hands. And trying to use a little bit of the wrestling. I do think Matsumoto is a little bit more well-rounded than that. What did you say the bet line was again?
Plus 260 Miles Johns, minus 325 for John Matsumoto.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's very high for Matsumoto. I mean, I could understand if someone would want to take a shot on on Miles Johns here, but I do think Matsumoto gets it done. I still think that Miles Johns, he can still defend himself pretty well, and he's fairly tough for the most part. So I still think Miles Johns stays in the fight, but I think Matsumoto gets it done by decision.
When was this picture taken? Because Miles Johns hasn't had hair in a long fucking time, dude.
Yeah. At least from what I know, he hasn't had hair for a while.
Yeah. Anton was there. Do you think winning gold in Cage Wars is a good indicator for UFC success? Antoine, over the past 5 years where me and D Rose are here every week talking about this, my opinion has flipped. If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said yes. Today, I'm going to say no. I do not think Cage Warriors Championship is a good indicator for, having success in the UFC, because a lot of these dudes have no takedown defense or absolutely no chin, and you just don't get tested until they get to the UFC. He had so much hype when he got signed. And then you think Lima lost hype versus Peyton, or is he still legit? I think you're Felipe Lima. I don't know, D Rose. You would have to speak more on that.
You think Lima lost hype? No, I don't think he lost hype. I would just say that he lost to a good fighter, and Peyton Talbot, but I don't think he's lost much hype. No.
All right, so we'll move on to the next fight where we have Andre Touchy-Feely taking on C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez. Odds for the fight are currently plus 200 for Andre Feely. C-Rod is minus 245, your favorite. Andre Feely overall is 24-12, alternating wins and losses. So he is due for a win here up next. He is 35 years old, 5'11", and 74-inch reach, while C-Rod, 12-3 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. He is 27 years old, 5'7", and a 71-inch reach. And the fighters he's beating are undefeated Cameron Simon, undefeated Isaac Bulgarian, and undefeated Austin Bashi. He did lose to not undefeated Julian Erosa and not undefeated Ezekiel Costa. D-Rose, Andre Feely is not undefeated, and C-Rod being a minus 245 favorite makes you want to stay far away from this fight, especially with the size difference here, man. We know Andre Feely cracks, and personally, I think C-Rod belongs down at 135, man. I know he's, said he's going to stay up at 145, man, but the size difference that a lot of dudes are going to have over him here is going to cause us some problems, man. So with that being said, I'm going to go C-Rod via decision, but am I betting on this fight? Hell no. Hell no. Maybe if he was the dog, but not as the favorite, man. Which way are you going here?
You don't see yourself taking any overs on this fight or anything?
I want nothing to do with this fight, dude, because fucking C-Rod seems to lose against the people that he should beat via guillotine or, shit like that,
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Yeah, it is funny because it's like he gets more power from fighting prospects. And then when he's fighting the savvy vet types, he ends up kind of crumpling, but it's crazy. But I do think that I still think that C-Rod is going to be able to more or less just outwork Andre Feely. I think, at this point, Andre Feely, he's in the pattern of win one, lose one himself, but I do think that man, he's been a guy who, he's been in there. He's fought a lot of, top names, but he's taken a lot of damage and stuff like that over his career. He's been knocked out, a couple different times now. I think that, looking at a guy like, C-Rod, I don't think he's going to have the most power or anything, but I do think that when it comes just to basics, he's got it all down. Pretty good boxing, pretty good wrestling, use those leg kicks well. I think Christian Rodriguez will be able to get the job done. I just think he just out-volumes and outworks Andre Fili over 3 rounds. I'm going to go C-Rod by decision.
Fair enough. Anton wants to know, I know what y'all might say, but do you think Conor ever fights again?
No, and honestly, at this point, I really don't care if he does. We're well past his prime at this point. I don't need to see Conor fight again.
And is Conor an all-time great for what he did, 2 division champion? I will stand on this. I think Conor was probably one of the greatest featherweights that we've ever seen. We didn't get to see it for a long time, but he just ran through everyone, and fucking no one really stood much of a chance. And do I think he fights again? I think we'll see him fight one more time. Do I know when that's going to be? No. But I know right now he's entered in the testing pool, and if fucking Michael Chandler gets another fight, he's going to be like, Conor McGregor, you still owe me a fight. I'll see you at the White House, brother. At the top of the White House.
If you ever so choose to come back and grace your octagon with your presence, grace it against me.
See you at the top. Anyway, moving on. Wait. Okay. Well, a little out of order here. We have Yasmin Lucindo taking on Angie Overkill Hill. Yasmin Lucindo is 17-6 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she has 1 loss and 4 wins. A unanimous decision loss against Amanda Lemos. She did beat Marina Rodriguez, did beat Karolina Kowalkiewicz, did beat Polyana Viana, and did beat Brogan Walker. She is 23 years old, 5'3", and a 66-inch reach, while Angie Overkill Hill is 18-14 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, 2 losses and 3 wins. Lost to Mackenzie Dern, win against Denise Gomes, win against Luana Pinheiro, lost to Tabitha Ricci, and win against Ketlin Souza. She is 40 years old, 5'3", and a 64-inch reach, D-Rose. Been flipping back and forth here all week. Odds for the fight, -198, Yasmin Lucindo. Angie Hill is +164, the dog. Yeah, man, this is one of the ones where, dude, I would be confident in Lucindo if I knew if she could get takedowns, dude. But Angie Hill's takedown defense has been getting better, dude, at 40. So she's training, but, dude, there's damn near a 20-year difference in age here. And I just think youth is just on Lucindo's side. So give me Lucindo to go out there, get the takedowns, and control Angie Hill all 3 rounds. It's going to be boring, but shout out Angie Hill for still doing the damn thing. This is the PBF of the night, though, man.
Yeah, I sadly agree. I think the same thing, and the bad part is that there's not going to be a lot of disagreements on this card, so we might end up having a 1-fight pick champ, which I'm going to be absolutely sick about.
That's Cody Brundage versus Eric McConaughey.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. It's going to be 1 fight, and it's the first fight of the night. But, yeah, man, I just don't see us having much disagreements on here. I'm with you, man. I think, Lucindo, a fighter like Lemos, she's going to be tough to fight. Good footwork. She's got good offensive wrestling herself. She can get taken down, but she does have pretty good, takedown defense for the most part. She's powerful, quick. I think Angela Hill is still going to be a little bit quick, but I think the power threat is not there to kind of, make Lucindo kind of, hesitate a little bit. And Angie Hill is one who's very inconsistent. We see her come out and get whooped on 1 fight. Then we come out and see her, whoop up on the next chick that she fights. So she's very up and down in her performances. So she's kind of like the Michael Johnson of strawweight, if I'm being honest. On her best day, she could beat anybody, but on her worst day, she could lose to anybody as well. And
Angela Hill.
Yeah.
Angela Hill fought last weekend, and then Angela Hill's fighting this weekend.
Just missed them having them on the same card too. What a shame, man. What a shame. But I'm going to go Yasmin Lucindo here. I think she gets it done. I'm with you with the wrestling. I think it's a decision win.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Yasmin Lucindo to win this fight via decision. We've got 2 left. Ode Osborne taking on the Jamaican sensation. Wait, no, Ode Osborne is the Jamaican sensation. He's going to be taking on Astro Boy Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg, out of his last 5 fights, he is 2 wins and 3 losses, but he is 12-4 overall, and his losses were to ex-champion Brandon Moreno, title challenger Kai Kara France, and then the champion Alexandre Pantoja. And then when he fights people that aren't the champion, Matt Schnell and Alessandro Costa, he does win. And Alessandro Costa, a very good fighter. Anyway, he is 30 years old, 5'8" and a 68-inch reach, while Ode Osborne taking this fight on short notice. So this is going to be a bantamweight fight, D-Rose, 135. He is 13-8 out of his last 5 fights. He is 2 wins and 3 losses. He did knock out Luis Garule 3 months ago, a prospect that a lot of people were on. Did we both pick Ode Osborne, or was it just me in that fight, man?
I believe it was just you. I thought that Garule was going to out wrestle him, and Ode Osborne, he showed his wrestling defense well in that fight. So he looked good.
Yeah, man. He is 33 years old, 5'7" and a 73-inch reach. Man, I think odds for the fight, holy smokes, never mind. Minus 575 for Steve Erceg, Ode Osborne plus 425. Dude, I thought this was going to be a closer fight because I thought people were going to be low on Steve Erceg because he is on a 3-loss streak, and Ode Osborne coming off a knockout win. But I'm wrong, dude.
No,
but
they're wrong.
I agree with the odds simply because, dude, Steve Erceg is only losing to literally the top of the division, as where we see Ode Osborne, lose to people that are just joining the UFC contenders. He'll win one here and there, but he's not going to be the champion, and he ain't going to be fighting for the championship, as where Steve Erceg did. So for me, I think I'm going to go Steve Erceg to win this fight. Do I go decision or submission, D-Rose? Which one are you going?
To me, I think the way I think the fight goes, I think, Ode Osborne, he's got good power. He's shown that he's got good wrestling defense at this point, but I do think the short notice thing is going to be a little bit tough for him. He's got quick hands, but I do think that, Steve Erceg's got good fight IQ overall, good boxing. He's got good wrestling himself. I think he's well-rounded. I think the way it goes, I think Steve Erceg just I think he plays it safe for the most part. He's been kind of hit around and kind of, thumped around a lot his last few fights. He got dropped by Kai Kara France and finished. He got hurt pretty bad a couple of different times by Brandon Moreno. I believe he got dropped. I think it was in the second round. He's been hurt his last couple of fights. So I think he's going to be – this fight is not going to be fireworks. I will say that. I think it's going to be Steve Erceg doing what he needs to do to get the job done. I think Steve Erceg by decision.
All right. And so Steve Erceg by decision for me. I could see him getting the back, though, and maybe choking out Ode Osborne. That wouldn't surprise me too much if I'm going to be completely honest, though. But me and D-Rose both on Steve Erceg via decision. So we'll move on to the main event of the evening, where we have the Caucasian Roman Dolidze taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Roman Dolidze 15-3 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. He is 37 years old, 6'2" and a 76-inch reach. On the other hand, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, he's 14-2 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 5-0. He is 31 years old, 6 foot and a 75-inch reach. And D-Rose, pretty sure we're going to be on the same side here, so I'll just pass it to you, man, and I will let you break it down and pick first, man.
Yeah, I think the way I think the way I see the fight, and I think the way a lot of people see the fight is, I think the way that Roman Dolidze gets it done, I think would be by a finish, most likely a shot to the body. We have seen Anthony Hernandez in multiple fights now get hurt that way. You know, obviously that Kevin Holland highlight during 2020 when he landed that knee against Fluffy Hernandez and got him out of there. We saw Michelle Pereira hurt.
9 months ago.
Fluffy to the body. Yeah, Roman Kapilov also hurt Fluffy to the body. So that is an area of weakness for Fluffy time and time again where he has been hit and has been hurt. So Roman Dolidze does have power, and he's got a pretty good left hand. If he can squeeze that left hand in there from that southpaw position and land a big shot, I do think he can hurt Fluffy and get him out of there. If he does not get Fluffy out of there, I do think that Roman Dolidze, we have seen him kind of gas out a little bit as fights go. Now, in the 5 rounds against Marvin Vettori, he actually looked pretty good. But I just think someone with a pace like Fluffy, the way that he fights, I'm going to be interested to see how these ground scrambles go. Is Dolidze, we've seen him, obviously, we always talk about how he was able to finish Jack Hermanson with that calf slicer to roll to get top position and get that ground and pound. I'm going to be really curious to see how these scrambles go. But I do think we've seen Fluffy win those types of scrambles enough. Go back to the Brendan Allen fight. And I think that's, even in the last Michelle Pereira fight where we've seen Fluffy, he's almost like the middleweight Marab at this point. He's just going to keep putting it on you until you can't handle it anymore. But I think Dolidze is going to be able to keep himself safe just because he's defensively responsible when he's on the ground. But I think I'm going to go Fluffy here. I'm going to go by decision. I think it's going to be a really fun fight, but I think Fluffy ends up getting it done.
All right. Odds for the fight plus 280. Roman Dolidze. Fluffy is minus 355. Your favorite. Yeah, D Rose, I am pretty much with you 100%. I will have a bet on Roman via finish just because he's a pretty big dog right now, and him just to finish altogether is plus 380, man. So, I don't know. Plus 380. If he wins, it'll be by finish, but I'm with you, man. I think an eye-opener for me was the Michelle Pereira fight. Fluffy's tough enough to survive that absolute blitz from Michelle Pereira in the first round. I don't know if anyone gets him out of there in the first round, but now that he's, in shape, an actual legit fighter, because I think when Kevin Holland beat him, it's like he was what his name implied, was a little bit fluffy. Now he's trimmed down a lot, man. And ever since the Rodolfo Vieira fight, that was a real eye-opener, man. So for me, I want nothing to do with this fight betting-wise, really. This will not be going in any of my parlays because it's truly a coin flip fight, but I'm going to go with Fluffy as well. And it wouldn't surprise me, D-Rose, if we saw a late sub, man. I know no one's ever, finished Roman Dolidze, but, man, that takedown after takedown after takedown, the Mexican Khabib is going to just drain that energy from you, man. And if he wraps up that neck, Adolfo Vieira, the world champion black belt, tapped himself, dude. Roman Dolidze could be tapping as well, man. So for me, I am Anthony Hernandez. I'm going to go, I think, Anthony Hernandez. Let's go round 4 submission. That's what I'm going to go, dude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, well, I actually clicked save right now, so that's good. You probably can't click save because you're on your phone, but it's all right, D-Rose. After it, I'll remind you. Let's see. Antoine says, and Dolidze is prime at 37, almost 40. Hasn't taken. I think he's been hit a little bit, Antoine. Does Fluffy challenge for a belt one day? If he keeps this winning streak up, he has to. And where do you get your 229 poster at, D-Rose?
I believe I just got it on Amazon. Yeah, I believe I actually just got it on Amazon. Yeah, it's pretty cheap at this point because I would say, the pretty, it was an older card. So, but yeah, that was one of the cards that, it birthed a lot of great moments. Obviously the Khabib McGregor rivalry and, the post-fight brawl and all that stuff. But let's not forget, Derek Lewis and Alexander Volkov was on that card as well. My balls is hot moment was on that card. So
yeah, man. You'll see October 6th. 6 October. You'll see. 6 October. Heard that for
Same
months.
location. Same location.
6 October. 6 October. Oh, man. All
Man,
right.
what's crazy is that of course, as soon as the podcast is over, I just fixed my connection on the Chromebook.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Bob McCoy wants to know, how's the move going? As you see, man, I can't really see it up there. I just finished painting right now. I think I list my house on August 25th, I think, is the day that I list my house. I don't expect it to be on the market for too long, probably less than a month, probably, and then I want to be out of here. So I probably have maybe like 45 days left here, and then I think we'll be out of here, man.
Oh shit!
I think so.
Countdown begins.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but nothing really in stone yet. But just kind of getting shit done over here. So before I forget, for everyone still here, all 10 of y'all, if y'all haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. I'm gonna share with my early parlay with y'all because, as I said, I don't feel too great about the main card this weekend. Well, where did we go? There we are. So I have already cooked up a parlay, and this will probably be my confidence parlay for this week for Change of Cheddar. I'm probably just going to leave it right here as is. It's a 5-leg parlay at plus 1121. D-Rose, you got to give me your thoughts on it because pretty much all of our picks are the same. I got Euro Schmedic round 1, round 2 knockout. Gabby Hernandez to just finish Priscilla Cachoeira. Doesn't matter how. Jocelyn Edwards, money line. Elijah Smith, KO 1 or 2. And Julius Walker, KO 1 or 2. $10 on that, 122. $5, 1121. I mean, $10 at 1121.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Yeah, I mean, as you said, that's all the ones that we had picked as well. And did I pick Fernandez by decision? I'll probably.
I don't know, man.
Actually, no. Because I did say by decision. I don't know.
I think you picked by knockout, if I'm gonna be honest, over Zombie Girl.
Zombie Girl was who it was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I said ground and pound for Fernandez. Okay. Yeah. Then no, I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, dude. That's probably going to be the confidence parlay for Change of Cheddar this week. So if you want to play it, go ahead and play it. Odds may change before Friday. I am not responsible if those odds change before Friday, though. You may get a better or worse line before Friday, which leaves the only thing left, D-Rose. Well, we have 2 things left are the pick champ. So what would you like to be the fights for the pick champ this week, D-Rose?
It is one horrible, garbage, unbelievably stupid fight.
And he's still gonna find a way to burn you, D-Rose. You're gonna have nothing to do with the fight, and he's still gonna burn you. He's gonna go out there and snooze McConaughey, and he's gonna have you eating beans.
Yes, unbelievable. I mean, I'm just waiting for him to do it, man. Or it's going to go to a draw, and then it's like, what are we going to do when it comes to a draw or no contest or anything like that? Like, again, anything is possible in the wise words of Kevin Garnett. So I am, my sphincter is going to be puckered.
That's fair, man. That's fair. So that's for the pick champ. Cody Brundage versus Eric McConaughey is the fight for me to keep the pick champ this week and to have D-Rose eating beans this time next week. So the only thing left is the fisting of the week, D-Rose. We got a few candidates. Candidates for fisting of the week are Euro Schmedic over Gilbert Urbina, Elijah Smith over to Toshomi Kazama, Julius Walker over Rafael Cerqueira, and I believe that is it. Yeah. So those are my 3 candidates for fisting of the week. All 3 fights in a row, man. So out of those 3, which one do you feel most confident in getting in the opponent getting fisted?
I will say, I think Elijah Smith has a better chance of getting the fisting done, but I will roll with you if you believe the odds, especially in terms of the odds being better for Uros Medic, because I think Uros Medic gets it done as well. So
Yeah.
if you prefer odds, I'd say Uros Medic, but preferred likeliness, I'd say Elijah Smith.
All right. I think the one that I'm most confident in is Julius Walker. So you're most confident in Elijah Smith. So let's come to an agreement and let's go with Uros Medic versus Gilbert Urbina, with Uros Medic getting the fisting of the week over Gilbert Urbina. So Gilbert Urbina, the RGV bad boy. Hopefully you can blow out on some gelato in the parking lot after you get fisted by Uros Medic this weekend. So that's going to be it for the show, you guys. If y'all haven't already, please do us a favor and hit that thumbs up button on the video for your boys. And if you don't mind, catch me Friday here for Change of Cheddar. You'll get my last minute post weigh-in picks. I'll have weigh-in photos and everything pulled up here for you guys, and we'll go over the card one last time. And then we'll go over the chat real quick. Can you list 3 pay-per-views in the 200s that became all-time great pay-per-views? Antoine, if I could remember pay-per-view numbers off the top of my head, I would have a lot of things going for me in my life. But
no, it would just mean that you're just even though we are UFC super fans, you would be a super freak fan at that point if you knew every single card number. I mean, some card numbers stand out, but not all of them in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think I'll remember, what is it? See, I don't even remember. Was it 316 or was it 306 in the sphere? 306 in the sphere? Or 306 in the sphere, right?
See, you're even asking me that.
See,
I
don't even fucking know, dude. I forgot. See, I went to it and I don't even fucking remember what the number was. I'm just bad, man. 245 is all-time classic. Betting my entire savings on Matt's picks just showed. Can't wait to be rich. Be careful, Austin. Be careful, man. The way you guys throwing the word fisting around is killing me. That's the point, Antoine. That's the point. Fisting is just getting punched, right? No. Fisting, Austin, I'm going to, you should just Google it. Just Google fisting.
You should look it up on your work computer when you do it.
Yeah, also look it up on your work computer, person getting fisted, and then you'll know what getting fisted is. Gelato is always the best in a paper. Yeah, not bad. Thanks for the fun, indeed. Is that bear still around, D-Rose?
We haven't seen it around here lately, but It's starting to get a little bit chilly, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to kind of stay back a little bit more now.
That's fair. All right. Also, gonna look it up tomorrow at work. Just be prepared to not have your job anymore after you look up fistings at work, Austin.
Yeah. And make sure you have some in there with you just so they can be a witness to what amazing fisting is when y'all can capture the essence together.
All right. With that being said, don't get fisted over this past weekend, because I don't recommend that to anyone. It just looks very uncomfortable. With that being said, we appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you do want to do something, though, you can hit that thumbs up button for your boys, though. But my name is Matt D. Rose on that side of your screen. What's up, man?
I'm the Unk. Signing off on this call here, young fella. You guys have a great week now, young men.
All right. My name is Matt, Uncle D Rose on that side of the screen, and I'll catch you Friday for Change of Cheddar, but me and D Rose will catch you here next week for the podcast. Peace.
How do I turn this off?